Hello everyone and welcome back to a short EP review, and in this video I'm going to review Icarus by Cryalot. This is the debut EP by Sarah Bonito, mostly known for being the singer of the British Elecropop group Sarah Bonito, which started as a really cute, playful and catchy project, but it would become darker the more releases we would get along the way. And since I love lots of stuff from Sarah Bonito, I was obviously really excited to listen to this EP after I saw the announcement with a project that instantly gives the impression that it's gonna be much more dark and a different direction. For me, this wasn't really that much of a surprise. I was sort of expecting that we might eventually get it to this point, since we got this shift into the sound of Sarah Bonito with some darker stuff anyways, with releases like the EP Totep. So yeah, even if people categorize it as the poppy era of Sarah Bonito, I can't really say that I see it as much, as there is not really that much of a shift in the direction of the sound. Cryalot is a project that feels much more personal, reflecting of the dark moments in Sarah's life, and we see it with some tracks over here that are quite dark in some cases, and also kinda melancholic and angry at some points. We got the first teaser track, Hell is Here, which was pretty promising in my opinion. It was a pretty solid track that showed this change of a direction in a more aggressive sound, going into like elements of Deconstructed club. We still get those phases with a more cute and playful vocals. It is a track that while it is aggressive, it keeps some of the electropop elements that you would get from like Sarah Bonito stuff. It's not like completely abandoned even with tracks like this. I wouldn't necessarily say that I loved the song, but I felt it was pretty good, and it made me look forward to how this EP was gonna shift, and I was just hoping that it would get better at this point on forward, just providing more stuff that would go into similar directions like this, and hopefully that we would get even more intense and brutal songs. But I feel that we got an EP over here that doesn't really change a lot from some of the stuff that I've heard from Sarah Bonito in some aspects. We mostly got the electropop elements. The main thing that changes is some of the melodies with some more melancholic elements and some synth parts that are more intense and more distorted, but unfortunately I didn't really find this EP to provide something all that special. I believe that at the end of the day we get some pretty basic directions when it comes to the instrumentals, not really feeling all that stand out or exceptional. It might be a new direction for the sound of Sarah Bonito, but I believe that we've heard many different artists go into directions like this in recent years, and this EP doesn't really do something that much new or interesting. Like, I felt kinda disappointed when the EP started with the track Touch the Sun, which for me is kinda forgettable. Sure, you can say it's kinda dark and melancholic and more intense at times when it comes to the chorus, but I believe that at the end of the day we get a sort of average recent era pop track sharing some elements that you can find in hyperpop releases. So yeah, I don't really believe that it does something that much new, and even in instances like this I don't believe that the track really does all that much. And for me it was even more disappointing with the very next track, Hurt Me, which actually felt more of like a continuation of the previous idea with Touch the Sun. It felt sort of like the same song. At first I didn't even realize that much that we got into a new song. There are so many similarities when it comes to like the melodies, the approaches, the sounds, so it got me a bit confused at first. For me, Hurt Me was a bit of an underwhelming track that didn't really do all that much for me. Hell is Here ended up being the highlight out of this project in my opinion. Not because it's by far the most aggressive and intense moment over here, but I honestly believe that it contains the best ideas when it comes to the sounds, its approaches, and just feeling like a pretty cool song, actually trying something that feels a bit slightly different compared to what we've heard before from Sarah Bonito. But like I said, I wouldn't even consider it to be an outstanding song. For me it was just potential for something even greater as the EP would go on, which I'd say the closest we get in terms of another high quality song is Labyrinth, in which I actually believe that the chorus is really beautiful. I like the intensity, I like the production out of it, and yeah, the scenes, the melodies and the singing are pretty catchy over here, and also having this sort of dark and melancholic atmosphere that in my opinion works pretty fun with the song. When it comes to the verses, they're quite minimal, there's not really a lot going on to them, but I like the more explosive chorus over here. This track ended up being a bit of a grower. Even though I wouldn't consider it to be an outstanding song, it managed continues to stand out in comparison to other tracks out of this EP. Then we have See You Again, which for me had the potential to be possibly the greatest moment out of this EP, as this track was the most experimental and the most chaotic out of the bunch. The unfortunate thing is that for me it felt like it was just an experimentation at the end of the day, not really extending to an idea that makes that much of a sense. It is mostly kinda minimal with its piano melodies, there is a lot of spoken word and even in Japanese parts, and for me the track felt really good right before we reached the halfway point in which we got those more intense scenes and the track actually sounded a bit more alive. And it didn't really extend that much beyond this point, it just provided some ideas that didn't really seem like going anywhere. It was a bit lengthy and it didn't really do that much towards the second half. And then finally we have an edited version of the track Labyrinth. I personally don't really like it when albums or EPs do that, when you have an edited version of an already existing song. I don't like it when this happens because it just feels like filler, and at the end of the day, yeah, this track over here is just filler material. I don't really see the reason behind it. With that being said, this was one of the releases that I was quite excited for, but I ended up feeling somewhat disappointed by it. I personally expected something better and greater out of it. At the end of the day, we're talking about a pretty decent EP. There are some cool ideas, and it's actually pretty nice seeing this new darker approach in Sarah Bonito's music. I'm looking forward to see what she does next, if she's gonna continue with this project, because I believe that there is potential. I just found this EP to not be that much my cup of tea. I believe that there could have been more to it and that it could have been even better. I'm gonna give Icarus a 6 out of 10. What's your opinion on this EP? Like it, dislike it, why? And what do you want me to review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.